Okay, it's Sunday, which means against my better judgment, it's time to go to Reddit and see what we can find in this hive of scum and villainy. So I've been to the Overwatch University subreddit and just scraped all the questions off the first couple of pages I'm going to answer them now. Some footage of Overwatch plays in the background. This is me playing from on stream earlier today, so there you go. So, first though, over in the Discord server, we got some things. Oh, actually, follow-up to the Moira thing from last week, because one of the things in the patch was Moira's orb area got reduced, and someone did the math on that one, which was, you know, the radius, basically it went down to the radius was reduced by 20%, but the area of Moira's orb was reduced by 36% instead, because math and spheres. So, you know, it's a big deal. It was bigger than it looked like. There you go. Thank you, exclamation, for doing the math. So, first up, now, first question. Who do you think currently are the 3 strongest tanks and the 3 weakest tanks? So, 3 strongest tanks, top to bottom, Reinhardt, Zarya, Orisa. They're just the most versatile tanks by far. Like, you can slot them into basically any circumstance, and they'll be good. Not Zarya so much, because she's an off-tank, of course, so she doesn't have the same level of versatility as Reinhardt and Orisa do, but you can just put them into, like, basically any team comp and they work just fine. Which is how I determine if somebody is a strong hero or not. How many situations are they good in versus how many situations are they bad in. Rein, Zarya, and Orisa are strong in most circumstances and weak in only a few circumstances. 3 weakest tanks. Like, you asked me this, like, next week, I'm sure I'd have a different answer for you, but, like, best to worst again probably goes Hammond, Sigma, Roadhog. It's like, my issue is just that, like, Hammond's not strictly bad by himself. It's I'm including some meta stuff in this, which is, A, a lot of people are bad at Hammond, and B, a lot of people are very bad at, this is the bigger issue, to be honest with you, is that people are very bad at playing with Hammond on their team. Most people don't know what to do when they're playing with Hammond, which just leads to them saying that Hammond is feeding, even if Hammond is actually doing his job, which is, incidentally, the same thing Winston does. But people are just not very good at playing with Hammond, is the main issue there. And, you know, then with the fact that a lot of Hammond players are bad, also, it's a stacking effect. Sigma, I just think he's been nerfed. Like, he's just been overly nerfed, basically. I think it was an egregious amount of nerfing he received, and it took, you know, and now he's just... Basically, you can only play him as an off-tank now, realistically, and even then, he's just outclassed by every other off-tank. He just, like, the only thing he brings is, like, shield longevity when combined with Reinhardt. But, like, the trade-off is he's worse in all other respects to Zarya. You know, like, pretty much. And then Roadhog, like, Roadhog has this thing where if you're really good at Roadhog, and you play Roadhog in a situation that's, like, ideal for Roadhog, which is there's a lot of flankers and divers on the enemy team, Roadhog does just great. Like, he's fantastic. The problem is that Roadhog has also been the recipient of so many nerfs that eventually it's taken at this point. And I don't think that... Like, there's just kind of no reason to pick Roadhog over any of the other tanks unless you specifically just need a lot of crowd control. But even then, it's like... Roadhog doesn't even strictly bring that much to the table, to be honest, but, like, you know, that's what he's got going for him, right? Like, the hook is really good against people like Hammond and Doomfist. Flankers and divers in general. So he is, like, really good against the dive comp, and then that's kind of it. You know, like, that's about it. That's all Roadhog's really got going for him. And then there's the other problem of he's just such a big ult battery, and, like... as the game goes on, it feels like ults only get more and more oppressive to play against, you know? Like, it is... In this world, like, this is one of the things, by the way, that holds Winston back from being, like, a really good hero, in my opinion, is the fact that his ultimate just gives the other team more ults, right? Like, Primal Rage, you use it, and you just give the enemy team, like, 900 health worth of ult charge most of the time, right? Like, that's terrible. That's such a huge detriment to the character. And Roadhog has that without even needing to use his ultimate, and his ultimate still isn't very good. You know, so this is the problem that they have, pretty much. Hammond, it's not his fault, it's like mostly people around him. But like, you know, I'm gonna include that as well, and if you take issue with that, well, I'm sorry that you're just wrong about things, and that you can't see the light. I'm sorry. I apologize. Like, I talked about Toes last week. I still, first of what I do to try and help him. I don't know what you do, for Roadhog. I feel like Roadhog is a less clear example, because it's, like, hard to keep to his identity while also, like, buffing him significantly, you know? I think number one would be to give him a different ultimate. I don't know what you do. I don't have a suggestion for what a better ultimate would be for Roadhog, but I think another ultimate is necessary. Whole Hog, it just has, like, such a limited application. Now, this is not necessarily the end of the world if the rest of the hero is strong enough to make up for that lack, right? Like, Pharah is also fine despite having a pretty bad ultimate, right? Because Pharah by herself is strong enough to make up for that deficit. This is also true of, like, McCree. McCree's ult is not particularly good. It's okay, you know, it's middle of the road. But, like, McCree is a really good hero. So having a bad ult is not necessarily the end of the world if the rest of the hero is strong enough to make up for him. So, you know, you could say instead, alright, well, what do we do? Or keep the ult the same, we just need to buff the rest of Roadhog to make up for it. I think it would be cool if they put that one trait on from the PTR, where Take a Breather was an AoE healing effect. I feel like you could just put that on and that would be pretty sick, right? Like, I feel like that could be on Roadhog as he is right now, and it would not significantly, like, break him or anything. And I do think he should just be able to one-shot people, like, no questions asked, pretty much, if he hooks them and they're a squishy person. I think they should die, unless somebody helps them. They'll never do this. Like, this is the problem that, like, with hook characters in all video games. They are always the biggest source of gamer rage, because, like, you can counter a hook hero, but the problem is the way you counter the hook hero is not immediately obvious to the plebs. Because the way you counter the hook hero is by not standing in stupid fucking places. They don't appreciate that. So from, like, the majority of the player base's perspective, the hook hero has no counterplay, he just hooks you and you die. So this happens in all video games. You can find examples of this across multiple video games. League of Legends has multiple hook heroes, and they all went through this loop. Dota has a hook hero, they went through this loop. Roadhog went through the same loop as well. This always happens with heroes that have hooks in video games. They suffer this problem of being, like, it's hard to observe the counterplay unless you know something about a significant amount about the game already, which leads to a large amount of outcry, which leads to over-nerfing of that hero. So, like, I think Roadhog should just be able to one-shot a squishy hero, no questions asked, but, like, they won't do that again, because people will be mad. So, you know, you get left with limited options at that point, and at that point, the only if I'm not allowed to, like, make him one-shot people, no questions asked, I say then, alright, well, can, like, the person he's hooked take amplified damage, at least, while they're on the hook or something? You know, bit of utility, at least? And, like, while they're being hooked, so, like, Roadhog doesn't get it, so he can one-shot people or something, you know, if you're still upset about that. And just, like, give him the AoE heal. Like, I don't know what else you'd do at that point if you're not allowed to just, like, buff his damage or something, which I think should be the case. I think he should be the tank that does the most damage. I think he should outdamage Zarya. I think that's how it should be. He should have limited utility, but he should have massive damage. But, you know, what can you do, right? So anyway, those are the top 3 worst 3, which was the original point there. Next up is, do you think there could be any way to make Sombra more playable in lower ranks? I know she's most attractive, same thing really, at higher ranks where people actually follow up on hacks. I guess what I'm saying is, what do you think would be a good rework to her kit? So the problem here is that, like, the balance change needs to happen in a way that it makes her more effective. Because if you make her effective at lower level, that also is going to make her more effective at higher level as well. So you need to find the middle ground where, like, you buff them at low level, but that doesn't have a significant effect on them at high level, or if it does, something else is there to compensate at high level. So it makes it difficult, right? Because, like, if we just buff her damage, that would make her significantly better at lower ranks, but it would also then make her, like, probably way too fucking strong at high ranks. So, you know, it's difficult to say, because just, like, damage would solve it, but then she'd be, like, too strong at high level. So, I think a nice thing to do would, I think this wouldn't significantly affect her balance necessarily, but it would make Sombra easier to play, is if, I'm trying to think how to articulate this properly. If, because it kind of works, like, if her translocator, she didn't need to break it to throw another translocator. She could still only have one translocator in play, but she doesn't need to break the previous one. So she could have, like, put the translocator down somewhere defensively and then it's still ticking, but then, like, she doesn't need to break it or anything. She can just throw another one when the cooldown is up, and it breaks the one that was previously placed. And so that, like, I think that would be nice for Sombra and would make her easier to play without significantly affecting her balance-wise. Like, I guess, like, I would personally say reduce hack duration, and just increase her damage to compensate for that lack of utility. Like, reduce hack duration to, like, 3 seconds, and make her gun comparable to soldiers, basically. Obviously, it can't be as good as soldiers, because then she just becomes a better version of soldier. So, which soldier already has enough problems, we don't need to have somebody encroaching on his space as well. You know, I think most people would be willing to take a hit to hack utility in exchange for Sombra being just a better hero by herself. And then, like, maybe keep EMP the same. Like, the hack, reduce the duration to, like, 3 seconds or something. And keep EMP the same as it is right now. So that her ult gets to retain the same level of power, but she has had utility taken away from her in other places. The risk then becomes, does the increase in damage on her gun make EMP overwhelmingly powerful, because now she's able to charge it faster by virtue of doing more damage. But then you can just tweak the numbers on EMP's charge time to compensate for this, right? Alright, well, EMP is still really powerful, but Sombra's building it up too quickly, so we just increase the ult cost so that it ends up being roughly the same amount of time to charge now, even though she has had a damage increase, so it maintains roughly the same charge time across versions. And, like, to be honest with you, let the hacked health kits give Sombra ult charge, okay? Like, I don't know why they took that out of the game, okay? Like, let the hacked health kits give Sombra ult charge again, okay? Just let her do that. Like, I don't think that really makes a big deal, balance-wise, and it just, like, annoys me that it's that way, to be honest with you. That's kind of like all I've got. I mean, maybe... No, I don't think anything needs to be done to stealth. I was gonna say, like, I was gonna propose a trade-off on stealth as well, but I think that's fine, to be honest. I guess if you were super concerned about, like, her having more damage and still being stealthy, you could say, like, give stealth more of a tell. Like, you can still hear footsteps, but they're really faint or something, you know? But I don't think that's actually a big issue. I think stealth is fine. Yeah, I think that's what I'd do. I'd increase her damage and just reduce hack utility. And then you'd consider Emp from that. And then, like, you'd have to assess Emp from that point forward. Does it charge too fast? Is it still too strong to have her have the Emp be that powerful and then have her do more damage? In which case, like, reduce Emp time as well. Maybe by not as much still. Like, if, like, hack is 3 seconds, Emp is, like, still longer than that, but not as long. Not that you get much room to tweak that at this point. Yeah, I think that's what I would do. I would just make, like, her gun. If she is able to get more stuff done by herself, then at that point she becomes better at lower ranks. And the only way you can really do that while keeping the rest of the kit intact is... buffing her damage, which means you need to, like, take utility away from her somewhere else, and I think that, like, hack duration would be the most logical place to start. And then just, like, let her throw out another translocator, alright? Just, like, let her do that. Not have 2 out at the same time, though. Not that. That would be, both, odd to control and, obnoxious, so don't do that. But, like, just let her throw another one out, don't make her break it. Yeah, I think that's what I would do with Sombra. Reduce hack utility, increase damage, bam. Easy peasy. Unless we're talking about, like, sweeping reworks to her kit, but I don't know, that one I'd need to think about, like, more at length, to try and, like, decide that, because it's, like, how do you keep that hacker identity in place while completely reworking Sombra's kit, right? Like, that's a more grand scheme. With the way her kit is right now, that's what I would do. And that was it in Discord. Let me just check. Yep, that was all in Discord. Okay, so we're going over to the Reddit now. My goodness, we already spent, like, 2/3 of the video length on that one, so we'll try and get through the next ones real quick to balance it out. First up, do I have to pharmacy 24/7? This was from the perspective of a Mercy player, like, do I have to hang out with the Pharah all the time? Because it feels like as soon as I leave the Pharah alone, she dies immediately. I mean, no, you don't pharmacy 24/7. You got other shit to do. Mercy's a busy woman, okay? You got shit that you need to get done out there on the map, right? Ideally, you would tell the Pharah that you're leaving so that she doesn't just, like, go off and get herself killed, which they will do. They will do that. So ideally you tell them that, but no, you don't stick out with them the whole time. Like, you got other things to do. There's fucking 4 other people that you need to look after, right? Like, and sooner or later, like, they're gonna need help. Like, the other healer's not gonna be able to take care of all 4 people by themselves and themselves as well the entire time. So no, you can't hang out with Pharah 24/7 realistically. You've got other stuff to do. You do want to hang out with the Pharah a lot, but you don't stick out with the Pharah the entire time. Like, you know, there's people down there getting hurt. The tank's gonna do some dumb shit. The Ana's gonna need healing. You know, you're gonna have to go res someone. Somebody else is gonna start ulting, and then you want to be damage boosting that person instead of the Pharah because they're trying to use their ult. That's gonna be a better thing to damage boost than the Pharah most of the time. So no, you don't stick out with them 24/7. You try and be with them a lot, but you've got other shit to do. You're gonna have to go do other stuff. It's just, ideally, you tell the Pharah before you go. But, like, if you leave the Pharah and she doesn't know and she goes in 1v6, like, that's her fucking fault, okay? Like, whatever. Cry about it, bitch. Whatever. Don't go in 1v6 and maybe you'd be alive. Problem solved. Oh, but instead I'll cry about the fucking Mercy. Yeah, you know. Fucking... I hate people. Next up is, why do people hate playing tank? So I'm actually going to be quoting an exchange that happened in the Reddit thread for this one, actually. Because it was both a combination of why Reddit is cool and also upsetting at the same time in, like, 3 posts. So, why do people hate playing tank, you know? And then my boy here comes in, Jam Fedoya, whatever. Because tank is by far the most team-dependent role in the game. If you're in a bad team as a DPS, you can play a mobile or long-distance hero and get at least some practice in, if nothing else. If you're playing a support, you can play passive and have low deaths, which is, a set in brackets for me, completely worthless, because you're not gaining any skill, and you're not going to win a game by playing passively. But then, as a tank with a bad team, you barely get to play the game at all. When you lose with this team, you lose the most SR out of everyone, because your stats were bad. Finally, you have a small selection of heroes. 2 of these are largely hated, and if the other tank picks Zarya, Hog, or Hammond, then you basically only have 1 hero available to you that your team won't rage about you picking. Like, alright, that all seems very fair, and all, you know, that's a fine argument. And then the OP comes back in, and gets 9 downvotes for this. So I was like, what the fuck is he gonna... He must have said something ridiculous, because I had to get it to show me this, right? And he's like, I beg to differ. As a tank with a bad team, you can easily make huge plays and carry by yourself. With DPS, you die too easily and can't make as big plays. Also, in my opinion, Rein is the most fun tank to play, as you can 3-shot anyone if you play him right. Lots of people think that Rein is all about holding your shield, but really you mostly swing at the enemy team and then back away. Also, you don't always need a Rein. With Ball you can play Winston, with Zarya you can play anything, really. Not true. Same with Hog. Not true. But, like, that's all basically true, except for the thing about being able to play anyone with Zarya and Hog, right? Like, that's actually all true. And then, the hero of this, my man comes in, Ricelin, and says, Master/GM rank, this comment is getting downvoted, but I agree with it. Rein is exceptionally nuanced. Your positioning, shield maintenance, damage you take, how you fire strike, and accuracy, damage you don't take when you pin, when you shield hop, when you swing, how when you communicate what you're doing/not doing. There's so much that matters on a moment-by-moment basis. It's not as easy to notice as the impact of a Genji blade, but it's at least as important. Every little thing you do enables or disables your team. Rein, in my opinion, is one of the most intricate characters in the game. And it's hard to argue with that, you know? Rein does have a lot of mechanics going at the same time that you need to consider like this. So it's hard to argue with that, really, isn't it? So, you know. Also, you'll remember a few weeks ago, I was noting that there was this shift in Reddit where they had said that DPS was the just pick this and carry role. They shifted away from that to saying that tank is the pick it and carry role. So it seems strange to me now that a couple of weeks again after that, the most upvoted comment in this thread was a guy going, because tanks are extremely team dependent. When if just like 3 weeks ago people were saying, pick tank and hard carry to get out of low rank. That doesn't jive. You know, that doesn't jive with what you were saying earlier, does it now? So, this game's gonna be really bad, by the way, because I just decided I was going to play Hammond. And that was who I was going to play, no matter what happened. And I'm very bad at Hammond, just so you know. Please forgive me for being bad at the video game. And before anybody asks, again, you might have seen plat rank on that when I was picking the next replay. When I play on stream, I play with friends. This is the account I play with friends. It's not as high ranked as my main account. Thank you. Thank you. So anyway, why do people not like playing tanks? People don't appreciate this, right? Like, people don't appreciate the nuance that the tanks actually take to play. And you can see this by the way they play. Right, like, from the average tank player's perspective, in, like, gold to plat, they need to get hard carried by their supports to get shit done, right? Like, until you get to diamond, tank players are legendarily stupid. And even then, they're still pretty stupid. But they're legendarily stupid before that point. Like, of course they think Reinhardt and Winston are team-dependent heroes because all they know how to do is charge/jump into 6 people and hope they don't die. Which means they need to get carried by their supports through that situation. So of course they think they don't know what to do, right? They think that their Reinhardt is a DPS. They think that Winston can just jump into 6 people and get away with it, you know? Like, that's why that they don't like playing tank. They think it's a team-dependent role because they can't understand what they're doing wrong, and they need to get carried by their teammates through it because they can't acknowledge the fact that the reason they're losing, or they don't know to accept this fact. You know, it can just be ignorance rather than, like, malice, but, like, they don't know that, like, their positioning is bad, right? They don't know that they're picking bad engagements. From their perspective, Ryan just went in 1v6, but from his perspective, he went in and his team didn't follow him, right? Like, that's the problem. There's a disconnect between what the tank player sees and what everybody else sees. And the tank player doesn't know. They can't see it, or they don't want to see it. And as a result, they just need to get carried through these situations by their supports, which is, of course, extremely hit or miss, isn't it? So that's the problem. That's why people don't like playing tanks. They don't know what they're doing wrong, or they don't want to accept that what they're doing is wrong. The Reinhardt just goes, I have gold damage, therefore my DPS are bad, even though he doesn't even have his right click bound to anything, you know? Like, he doesn't even know he has a shield, you know? Of course he's got more damage than the DPS. Tanks do a lot of damage. That's the only reason that they're allowed to function. If like Reinhardt didn't do a lot of damage, you'd just be able to walk right past him like nothing was happening, right? Ryan needs to be able to do a lot of damage to function as a tank, and this is true of all of them. They all need to do damage to function as a tank, because otherwise they are toothless and no threat, and you can ignore them instead of actually respecting the space they create. So as a result, if you don't play Reinhardt like a tank, you will do a lot of damage, because that's how his kit is designed. He does do a lot of damage. But you can't do a lot of damage as Reinhardt while also playing Reinhardt like a tank. There's a point in here where the two roles need to connect, right? Like, yes, Ryan needs to do a lot of damage, and you as Reinhardt over the course of the game are trying to do as much damage as you can. But you also have to acknowledge that your primary role is tank. You only use the damage you can do to create the threat as a tank. You know, you still need to be being a tank. You can't just be playing like a DPS. But they don't know that. They don't know that. They just see that they've got gold damage, and they think, well, my teammates are bad, I'm playing tank. I picked tank when I queued, and that means I'm playing tank. If I've got most damage as tank, that means the DPS are bad, because I'm playing tank, even though you're not actually playing tank. But anyway, you know, that's the issue. That's the issue there. So, there you go. Next up, when do I not play Zarya? So, you know, kind of tying into what we were talking about earlier, Zarya sits in most situations. The only times you don't want to play Zarya, like team comp-wise, is the other tank picked an off-tank, so you're going to need to pick a main tank now. But, like, assuming the other person is playing a main tank, right, and you're just playing Zarya as the off-tank, when would you change off Zarya as the off-tank? I would basically just say if you're having trouble maintaining high charge in that game, because if you can't maintain high charge as Zarya, you're getting, like, very little out of that hero, so you might as well change to a different one. And which one would be best in that situation will vary very heavily, of course, but, like, that's what I would basically say is the only main reason you would want to change off Zarya. You can't maintain high charge in that game for whatever reason. It might be because of what their team comp is doing. Generally speaking, if the enemy team does less burst damage, it's going to be harder to maintain high charge. Like, if the enemy team has got, like, Symmetra Soldier, it can be harder to maintain high charge, because they can stop firing at less cost, and their individual shots do less damage. Whereas someone like Junkrat is, of course, the archetypical good person to play Zarya against, right? Like, because his bombs, he can't really control them that well, so you could just walk into them and get ult charge, like, bam, full energy, right? Like, so, you know, someone like Soldier Symmetra, they're less good for generating charge, so it might be something like that. It might be something to do with your team comp, where they're like really long range and you're having trouble maintaining a firm front line, so you might be better off playing like Sigma or Orisa as an off tank because they have better range or something like that. You know, there's a few different things that could go into it, but that's basically the only reason I would say. You can't maintain high charge in that game for whatever reason. Already kind of talked about that one, so we're not going to answer that one, actually. Next up is, what makes a good Mercy? And it's basically just, like, how you use your utility, which is true of all supports, right? It's how much value you're able to get out of your damage boost, and how much value you're able to get out of your res, and then your ultimate, of course, as well, but you're still trying to use damage boost as much as you can during that. You know, it's picking good times to damage boost people, picking the right people to damage boost at the right time. In a fight, acknowledging that you don't need to be healing somebody right now, even though they've taken damage, because they're not at that much threat, or damage boosting this person is likely to get better results than me just healing this guy that isn't in a huge amount of danger right now. Might still be in danger, but if I damage boost this soldier using Tac Visor, he might wipe the enemy team, so that guy being half health is irrelevant at this point. And then there's like good prioritization on who you're healing as well, because like a tank at half health or a DPS are at half health, it's more important you heal the DPS at half health most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, because a tank at half health is still like 250 health or 300 health, right? Whereas a DPS at half health is 100 health, which is easy one-shot range. So, you know, it's good prioritization in that regard, and then damage boosting, you know, getting value out of res, who you damage boost, when you damage boost them, you know. I don't need to heal right now, even though that guy is hurt. Prioritization, all that stuff. You know, Mercy doesn't get to make huge plays like Ana does with Bio Grenade or Sleep Dart or Nano Boost or anything like that. Mercy is more about, like, you have a fairly limited amount of resources, and you're just trying to get as much value out of the resources you do have as you possibly can. And then obviously also surviving, but this is true of all supports, you know, how well you are able to survive is an important aspect of all of them, not just Mercy. But yeah, that's it, basically. And next up, and this is going to be the last question for this week, is how do I not get tilted when playing with one-tricks? I mean, my main issue here is mostly just, like, why are you upset about it to begin with? You know, like, some of the most common advice that you will get in this game is that you should limit your hero pool to a very small number of heroes so that you can spend your time specializing in them. Right? Like, mastering a hero takes a lot of time. And, like, for the average player, they're not gonna have time to master a huge number of heroes. So, like, why are you upset if that person is only playing the one or two people, you know? Like, this is the thing as well. Like, the person might not actually be a one-trick. They might be able to play a few heroes, but the other heroes that they know how to play are not appropriate for the situation that you're in currently. So they have to stay on this one because it's the most appropriate one, even though it might not necessarily be working out right now. So, like, you know, think about that first off. Like, why are you upset when people will tell you to specialize anyway? And then, like, they might play more heroes, you know, than just this situation they don't work, so they're playing the hero that does work in this situation. And then here's, like, the main thing, right? Unless you are in very high SRs, your team comp doesn't matter that much, dude. Like, it actually just genuinely doesn't matter until you get to, like, GM. What your team comp is, really. I mean, it matters, but it's not a huge deal. What is more important than your team comp, at least till GM. At that point, you know, we're talking about a different game, though. And most of us will never get there, so it's not worth considering for the average player. In your games, your team comp is not going to matter as much as just everybody is playing a hero that they know how to play. This is more important. You, like, if you look at the Symmetra and you force that person to, like, Symmetra's not working right now, play Soldier or McCree or Widow so you can counter the Pharah. If they don't know how to play those heroes, they will be giving you nothing. They will be providing to you no value. if they know how to play Symmetra, it might not be ideal for the situation, but they at least know how to play that hero, so you'll get some value out of them. If you force them to play a hero that they don't know how to play, that is better team comp-wise or counter-pick-wise, if they don't know how to play it, they're not going to be able to leverage why it's helpful, so you'll get no value out of them, and you might as well have not bothered to begin with, right? So, like, just bear all of those things in mind when you're getting mad about it, you know? Like, maybe this is the best they can do. Maybe, like, if I make him switch to what would be better, maybe that guy doesn't know how to play Reinhardt. If that guy doesn't know how to play Reinhardt, I'd rather he keeps playing Hammond, to be honest with you, rather than him playing Reinhardt when he doesn't know how to play Reinhardt. Because if he doesn't know how to play Reinhardt, he's going to start turbo feeding as opposed to just regularly feeding. Just bear that in mind. So there you go. Game's ended. Just in time. Thank goodness. So thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you have a question that you want answered as well, please join the Discord, and then you can ask it there. We have a channel set up and everything. I started streaming on Twitch Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, 8 p.m. EST to 11 EST. There's a link to the channel in the description. And if you managed to make it all the way through the video and somehow still enjoyed it, please like the video and subscribe for more content of middling quality in the future. And I hope you found the video helpful.